Thank you. Motion to approve the minutes of the September 10th, 2015 Manistee Township Board meeting.
I'll make that motion to approve the minutes.
Is there support?
Support.
Been moved supported that the minutes of the September 10th, 2015 Manistee Township Board meeting be approved and placed on file. All in favor? Aye. None opposed? Carried. You've received a copy of your treasurer's report. I'll entertain a motion to accept it.
I'll make a motion to accept the treasurer's report as presented, placed on file.
I'll second.
Been moved supported that the treasurer's report be accepted, placed on file. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed? We have correspondence from the accepted September 4th, 2015 and October 7th, 2015 minutes. Oh, they're not available, I'm sorry.
No, we just met last night, so.
That's correct, yes. But we do have the September 4th meeting.
Not the accepted,
They just accepted them last
I
night.
just accepted them last
So we
night.
haven't passed through.
Correct.
There was no appeals meeting. You've looked at all the correspondence in your packet. Diane has provided with a lot of information. Any comment on any of those issues? If not, well, does anyone have anything to bring before the board at this time? Well, you can. Commissioner Dotz.
All right. Last county board meeting, we had a presentation from the Little Manistee Watershed Management Team, and it's all well and good, but again, a point of caution on stuff like this, as you know, go back in time when there was a state natural and scenic reserve, what is it, natural rivers designation for the Big Manistee, and it becomes zoning issues for people. You know, obviously there's nothing Manistee Township going through the Little Manistee, but it does become zoning issues at times. You know, people can't cut a tree down, mow some grass, you know, setbacks, it all comes into play. Russ Pomeroy, the county treasurer, gave us a presentation. There was the tax sales were done. He raised $120,000 in net profit. Also, one point of interest with that, if you have any delinquent taxes, you cannot bid on any parcels that come up. That's something that he kind of just, he passed that on to us also. We had a budget hearing and we passed our 2015-16 budget for $10.8 million. We had a presentation from West Shore Hospital. They're looking at and the word they use is closer affiliation with Munson. So that's ongoing. And also there is discussion in regard to the tunnel closure or closing. I'm not sure, I have not heard confirmation. I've heard rumors that it's been closed. We had a meeting on that last week. We're going to have a meeting on it again hopefully this coming week. We had one scheduled for Monday, and one of the commissioners on the committee wanted to have some more conversations before we got any deeper with the medical care.
Do you know the reason for that, Jeff?
Well, what we are told, John, by West Shore is it's safety. I'm not buying everything they're selling, I'll tell you that, at all.
And then it's a hospital, I'm sorry, then it's an ambulance ride from medical care to the hospital for maybe they're selling.
There's, yeah, and if it's a emergency run, I think there's one rate. Then they lowered the rate for other aspects quite low, but yet it's ongoing. Again, I'm not buying what I'm being told at all.
If it does resort to an ambulance dispatch, I would ask that someone make sure that our firemen are dispatched to run out there for every one of these.
Yeah, we haven't been called there unless they need assistance. So that's been just a few times.
They've had several runs out there when we haven't been called, which is great.
Okay.
Because we don't need to be called.
To assistance from the medical care to the hospital?
Just a transfer?
No,
Usually if we get
in the
called,
medical care.
it would be for CPR.
Yeah. CPR in progress.
They would call you guys for that, when their hospital is right there.
Yep.
That's only happened once.
Once or twice.
Wow, it's hard to imagine.
Takes a
Yes.
few people to do that, so.
Yeah, very hard to imagine.
The other thing we've got here for, well, the road commission, they just had their budget hearing I think it was last week, and they adopted an $8.964 million budget. Other than that, nothing there. Far Lake Improvement Board business, resolution of intent. We've asked to bring it back to you guys to formalize what the original letter said for the function, and Guy, help me if I'm getting this right, for the function of what the board's charge is. So which is lake level study, watershed study, and invasive species. And the only thing we've been doing anything with is strictly invasive species, and that's all the finances we'll probably ever have anything to do unless somebody gives us a huge grant.
Sitting in on several of those meetings, I didn't think it even pertained to lake level.
That was in the original petition. And
Okay.
the board has always felt that they were charged with pursuing weed control, lake level, and
Watershed.
But the resolution forming the board that our attorney wrote only talked about weed control. And
So
the
it's
board
up
would
to the-
like, the board would like it rewritten. to
And
include-
and you guys can say yay, nay, whatever. You know, that's up to your board.
How are you gonna fund this study? Has that been figured out?
We don't have the dollars to do anything. We're only gonna do with the dollars that we have. I can, that is, you know, is my position on it.
$250 a year for.
The first 3 years.
Yeah.
And then that's gonna, it's either whatever, and you guys know my position. I would rather see the whole thing operated with a committee of the township board. You know, I would be more than happy to sit on that committee, but I think for the little bit of money it costs to take care of those invasive species that are out there, I mean, you're looking at, this year it could be less than $10,000. It's a small ticket item to go through the bureaucracy of having that board. I mean, when you look at something like Portage Lake, it's a big lake, there's big dollars involved. Bear Lake, you've got 3 township jurisdictions. It makes sense to me in those cases, but in this one, it's a small ticket.
Sitting in these meetings again, Jeff, from the board, the reason we want that resolution rewritten is to qualify your board for grant money for this thing to just blow up.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that we had Mr. Wilson, and I'm speaking now as a township board, write that, and our board supported his recommendation, and I think we should leave it be as is.
Is that a form of a motion, or do you want me to pursue further research on it, or?
That's a form of a motion.
So the motion is to retain the resolution as presented, is that correct?
Correct.
As it current stands.
Right. As written and as established.
Is there a second? Is there a second? Is there a second? Fails for lack of a second. So I guess that goes back to my further research then, is that right?
Well, it's up to the board. I mean, if you don't act on it, it just dies. You know, it's a request from the Bar Lake Improvement Board to you guys to charge us with a resolution that allows us what the original intent of the petition was. If you don't want to do that, it just dies. You know, I mean, if you were to grant it to us, it's like John says, it gives us more authority to probably pursue grants and some of the other things that some of the other people from the association would like to see done, you know, in regard to lake levels.
And these are matching grants.
They can do
Whether
that,
they're
yeah.
matching
Yeah.
what percentage, but yes.
You know, Charlie was talking about a grant with the Army Corps that could be, you know, a $50,000 deal. There was talking also with RLS. I was like, I've heard numbers of $10,000 to $12,000.
But I think the core grant was a 50-50 match.
I think so. You know, and something like that would just wipe us out. I mean, we don't have those kind of resources.
Yeah.
There's not enough people in the kitty.
Do you have the resources to finish what you started?
Oh, the invasive species is not an issue anymore. I mean, at the moment, but they say that can change from year to year, you know, literally overnight. I mean, this year, because the results were so good last year, this year, it was very good. Didn't take hardly anything. And they're talking about possibly doing the lily pads, which is not what we're charged to do, but we let them tag on to that because of the permit with the DNR. So the association was working with RLS at no additional cost to anyone other than the landowners to treat the lily pads. And the lily pads can only be treated for navigation reasons. You can't just say, I don't like the looks of them, go treat them. So those people were taking care of that.
I don't know if you're aware of this, Jeff, or not, but, because I don't think you were here at the last meeting, but there was, and I am doing some research on making that lake non-motorized. There's been requests to research it.
Yeah.
And I'm currently doing that, but that would, and the reason being is that, their opinion of some, that the propellers actually spread
Yeah.
the weed seed. So, we're researching that as
Yeah.
well, so.
Well, I don't recall a gentleman's name, RSL.
Mike Solomon.
Okay. He agreed with that. Said certainly.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it spreads it. It cuts it,
Yeah.
disperses it, and
Well, you're not gonna be doing much water skiing up there, that's for sure.
no.
Good way to get yourself hurt.
Yeah.
But that's not something we're charged with, that's something you
Yeah.
guys, that's a township issue.
Yes. Anything else, Jeff?
No, that's it, and the next one is, next improvement board meeting is March 7th, so.
March
March
7th.
Let's see if my calendar keeps it in this time.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. Guy, you got anything going on?
Well, I've been away for a month, but like you said, there was no appeal in October, and I don't have any, pending or on the horizon. I had 6 receipts in the month of September, no complaints. The Planning Commission met last night. Things they discussed were the Dom subdivision along Lake Shore. Parkdale Auto is coming to us. They've bought property next to their current location and want to set up a car dealership in that lot. Other was the US 31 corridor management plan that MDOT published in 2004. We started discussion on that. And continuing to work with the planning department on the recreation plan.
Any questions for Guy? Thank you, sir. Anything going on in the fire department, Chuck?
Yeah, it's actually last month was a little slower. We had 5 fire-related runs, 20 medical, 6 station trainings and other activities, total of 31. Personnel hours were 265. Chief and officers were 118 for a total of 383 for September. We're doing still continuing with a little bit of warranty work on the ladder. We're making progress on that. We did order the tires for 135, come in just under 500. Still working on the hose bed cover for 134. That's just about complete. And then we've been discussing the older 133, so that's moving forward. For the station, the countywide training facility, we're still working on that. It's taking a little bit longer than I thought to get the base set up. For equipment, we did receive that money from revenue sharing, like I said last month. I will be ordering that now that we've gotten all up to date on our stuff. And we did put in for another 12,000 this round approximately. And the SCBA bottles have been hydrostatic tested. And for fire extinguishers coming up on their annual test, we'll be doing those. Our radios that we have are PR400s, are a little older and failing. But the good thing about that is we get those through the 911 as they fail. Other departments are already getting newer radios through that. And the December and June we turn in a request, and then they give us equipment to use. So that's been working out pretty good for all of us. That's like headsets, radios, pagers. We do have 2 new applicants. They just came last week, so we'll wait a little bit while and see if they keep showing up and stuff like that. One actually has firefighter training, so we'll look into that. The training schedule continues, moves in a good direction. Wes and Frank are working on that. Since we got the new computer for the medical reports, September was 100% compliant. At the MDOT meeting, I reminded, I can't remember the lady's name there, Patty, about the lights that we requested for meeting the requirements for the flashing lights. And then a couple days later, I got a message on that, so that's moving forward but slowly. And then next week, the 14th, myself and Wes are going to be going to an MTA. Emerging issues in the emergency service. The hot topics are like social media, 10 things your fire chief should be providing, and then mutual aid alarm box. So it sounds like it's a good thing. There's other departments going around in the area that we found out. So a little bit of a drive, but it'll be worth it. What else is going on? The last thing I had was this Sunday, we're having fire prevention on Sunday the 11th from 11 to 3. We picked Sunday because the city and fire are doing theirs on Saturday, so we didn't want to compete with them. So we'll be having brats and hot dogs in a donation for the Seaver family. So there's some issues there. So we'll have games and stuff for the kids, and coloring station and goodie bags. So we can hand out. There'll be stuff for the kids and adults to take home. So other than that, that's it.
Any questions? If not, thanks, Chuck, and please, again, make sure the guys realize we appreciate their efforts. Put a lot of time in there.
They spent a lot of time there.
And it shows. No significant changes with the liquor situation because of the nice weather. We're still golfing. The Oaks Quarterly Report, Jeff gave us a synopsis of the report. Jeff, do you want to hit the highlights? Or?
There's really nothing of significant note. Just kind of, that's why I had copies. I got that. And nothing of any major change. Water tower's done.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it looks good.
I haven't even noticed it.
Well, thank you for this. That's nice to get that right there.
Well, Claire didn't make it, so I figured, she's your rep, so.
Yeah.
I contacted the drain commissioner and he said that there's no meetings. There was no meeting, of course, in September and none scheduled for October. He suggested that he was currently negotiating with the easement for the repairs to the spillway behind the hospital.
Wasn't there a meeting scheduled though for September, like the 22nd or something?
And it was canceled. It's on the schedule on the board right now for October 2, and I'll change it for tomorrow.
Not on your agenda, but just FYI, the Revenue Sharing Board meets Monday for the verbal presentations of Cycle 2 2015, and that meets at 5 o'clock at the hall on the other end. Under unfinished business, the Portage Lake Channel. I spoke with Dave Meister about that and asked him if he wanted us to pursue that. He said he would get back to me, and he hadn't done that, so there's not much going on with that.
In regard to,
A resolution in support of the repairs to the channel.
It doesn't hurt.
In the Bar Lake No Wake, we touched on that there was a request to research the procedure for making Bar Lake a no wake lake. I've received some correspondence, and I should have that by next month as to who does what. Under new business, we have the 2015-16 snowplow bids. You open them, I know. I'm not allowed to have sharp on that. Is that the only bid we received?
This is the only one we received. As of 7:30, there weren't any others in the mailbox or the email.
And when she says 7:30, she's talking time, not day.
This one is from Forbes Sanitation.
Okay. Type of equipment, four-wheel drive pickup, $35 an hour. Loader, $60 an hour, and a sander, $35 upon each request.
those rates haven't changed in 10, 15 years.
They do have a copy of their liability insurance on file,
I have that already. Mhm.
so that's the only bid that we received.
It is.
I'd entertain a motion to accept that bid by Forbes. Is it sewer and digging?
Forbes Sanitation and Excavation,
Okay.
Inc. I'll motion to accept the bid.
I'll support it.
Been moved, supported that the bid from Forbes be accepted at the rate provided. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed? The retirement plan update resolution, Diane, if you could touch on that for us, please.
Internal Revenue requires that our retirement plan language be updated to current code situations periodically through the life of the plan. So consequently, that is what our provider has done for us, and they've presented us with this update, and the board needs to adopt the resolution to adopt this plan.
There's really no changes in the plan.
There's really no changes in the plan. The terms are the same as they were originally. There are no rate changes, there are no payment changes, there are no retirement age changes. It is a restatement of what we've had.
Just to make it legal, it has to have a resolution attached to it.
That is
And you've been
correct.
provided with the resolution, with a copy of the resolution, the proposed resolution. If you've had a chance to read it, I would like to entertain a motion that the non-ERISA retirement plan resolution be adopted.
Did you make that
No,
motion?
I would entertain
made
it.
that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll support that motion.
It's been moved, supported that the...
Discussion,
Oh, yes,
question.
yes, I'm sorry, you're right.
At the bottom,
I know there's a couple of typo
it
errors
says
there.
deputy supervisor and
Yep.
deputy clerk.
Please cross that out.
Okay.
I didn't do my proofing correctly. My fingers.
So, The motion would be to adopt this resolution with those corrections, maybe?
Well, that actually is not part of the resolution.
Oh, okay.
The resolution is actually the to resolved and the now therefore resolved.
Okay,
That is actually only my signing at the bottom.
okay.
But yes, those two corrections will be made on the final draft
Actually,
when it
there's
is signed
three,
by
yeah.
everyone.
Okay. I'm happy.
Any other discussion? If not, all in favor? Or wait a minute, you need a roll call. I'm sorry.
Okay, that is a roll call.
Yes.
Mr. Fino,
Yes.
Mr. Dons,
Yes.
Ms. Janquith,
Yes?
and Taylor is yes. And Mr. Burkhorst.
Yes. Thank you. In your packet, you have a 2016 Township calendar. We'd like you, by next month, the clerk would like to have any changes that you request in that calendar, or important dates that need to be identified in that calendar. On that same note, I would like the board to consider, before we set, of course, this doesn't have to be done till the December meeting, but I would like the board to consider a 7 o'clock starting time for this meeting, just like all the rest of them.
Oh, instead of 7:30?
Yes. It's not a motion, it's FYI to consider between now and then.
Okay, and the other thing would be, some of you may have calendars showing the trash on 2 different days in May, and that has already been updated. The trash day will not be May 7th. Please cross that off if your calendar says it is there. The trash day will be the 14th of May.
Okay.
You may want to put on January from the 19th to the 22nd MTA conference. So we don't skip one
That
of
would
those
be
weeks.
correct.
And I presented this to the planning commission last night, and they only had one change that they would like to make, and that would be the April meeting
Okay,
be moved to the 21st,
they're moving from the 7th
to the 21st.
to the 21st.
Yes.
And are they going to do any joint meetings with zoning twice a year like they have in the past?
Yes.
Okay, so
They have time to put that together.
that would affect June and December potentially.
Yes.
Okay. If we could find out when those might be.
Well, it'll be the night of the planning commission, the regular scheduled planning commission in December and June.
Okay, so,
Those are in the bylaws for those.
okay,
So it'd be June 2nd. December 1st.
yeah, June 2nd and December 1st. Okay.
And I think deer season is far enough away, we don't need to adjust that.
That's not what you said last night.
Well, I said that was a planning, and I said that the township board's getting close. Kind of proud.
You have a letter of support. Let me find it. From the Manistee Conservation District with regards to the oak wilt.
This
It's got a Gmail.
says Gmail on the top of it. Here,
It's in your
you
hand.
can use mine.
They would like letters of support for their oak wilt grant proposal. Is anyone familiar with the oak wilt problem?
I can tell you that we have it along Lakeshore Drive somewhere, and that in the spring, that is a problem for those residents on how to dispose it.
There's not a lot of oak on Lake Shore Drive, is there? That was beach, I know. Is there much oak in there, Jeff?
They're not, it tends to be beech and maple and stuff, but anyways, what I can tell you about the oak wilt is that you don't cut a tree from springtime through basically first frost, but they say it's a little earlier than that, and once it's there, it'll kill the trees.
Right.
That's done. The only way they can stop it and prevent it, when we're talking about, you guys, they run a 5-foot dozer blade through to trench it to cut the roots so that they can't travel a fungus and go from root system to root system. But once it gets in, they say it's going to kill them, period.
What does that do to the pulping and logging industry?
Gives them a rush for a while. You know, it's not good. They're concerned about it up around Porter's Lake, I know that.
We have some on Concord Road.
Today?
Is that, you know, on M37 going south through 55, is that what's killing all those oaks? I mean, there's a lot of dead oak.
Oh, no, I don't believe that's oak wilt in there.
No.
There's also a stretch in Peacock Township that's like that.
Yeah, all the way down to Baldwin, yeah.
A lot of the oak wilt that we've dealt with has been in like campgrounds, because they pruned it at the wrong time. And we've trenched it and tried to break the grafting through the ground. And then we dispose of the tree, we go and bury it. We cut it up, haul it, and bury it, because if you leave it, then the birds and stuff will take it and spread it.
Yeah, there's insects that come and they spread
The disease.
Yeah.
Well, they're asking for a letter of support for their grant application. They've provided us with a sample letter, or we can draft one of our own. I would be in favor of doing this. And I would entertain a motion to do that.
I support that.
No, you made the
You know,
motion.
you can make the motion, I'll support it.
So the new supported that we draft and send a letter of support for the Manistee Conservation District to help with their oak wilt grant process. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Carried. The only other new business that I have is that the newspaper or cardboard recycling trailer has been removed from the old school building out here. They didn't place it anywhere else. They just pulled the trailer. There are 2 recycling places currently. One, I was told, at Maps, and one on the backside of Catholic Central. And of course, there are still 2 trailers out county. They called, I had correspondence with them with regards to placing that trailer by our recycle bins over here by the fire hall. I was not in favor of that. I did not discuss that with the board, but I was not in favor of it because that area at times, the whole area is used up for training, and they're building that training facility over there. I gave them a couple of different options that I would pursue, and I haven't heard any more from it. But if you could please take your papers to Maps or Catholic Central, or Winnetka has one, I think Brethren has one, they're out and around, and please don't put them in our dumpster, in our recycled dumpsters over there, although it's happening quite regularly now. But maybe we can get it back out here, but until that time, we'll have to wait and see where it ends up.
And those PCA trailers are at the backs of the schools. You can't see them from the road. You have to drive into the school and go around it.
Where is it at Maps? Is it at the middle school, or is it at the?
No, it's at the new high school, and you have to go all the way to the end of 12th Street, turn left on the gravel road on the edge of the hill there, and then back down into the parking area at the far end of the building.
Okay.
That's where the
Okay.
trailer is there.
Okay.
And at MCC, you go over by the football field and around that end of the building, and it's by the children's playground, behind the building. You can't see it from the road.
The steps are still there, but the trailer's not. Anything else? You've been provided with a copy of the bills. What are your wishes?
Make a motion to allow the bills paid as presented and placed on file.
Is there support?
I'll support.
It's been moved, supported that the bills be accepted, paid, placed on file. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. None opposed? The next MTA meeting will be Wednesday, October 28th at 7 p.m. at Marilla. That'll be the last one till spring. Marilla Road and Copish, I mean. The Zoning Board of Appeals, if there is one, will be Tuesday, November 3rd. Planning Commission will meet Thursday, November 5th, here at the hall at 7 p.m. Next regular meeting of the Manistee Township Board will be Tuesday, November 10th at the Manistee Township Hall at 7:30 p.m. Any other comment?
Tuesday?
Yes, sir.
Tuesday.
Tuesday. That one was dangerously close to here. Anything else? If not, a motion to order. Been moved, supported, we adjourn. All in favor?